Hello and welcome. My name is Jackson, and in this video we are going to be attempting to build Metroid Prime from scratch in 1 hour. We're not going to do the whole game, obviously, but we are going to attempt to do some of the core gameplay mechanics, including the visors. So that's the heat visor and the X-ray visor. That'll be applied to both objects in the game and to the AI. And so for the AI, we're going to do some Space Pirate AI, which will be shooting and running around and behavior trees and things. And we will also be doing the projectile system, so that'll be switching between different weapons and having them activate different doors and damage different enemies. Everything that I do today will be available for download in the description, so check that out if you want to have a dig through the project. Some of the assets that I'm going to be using are paid assets that you'll need to get from the Epic Marketplace, so they will not be included in that package, but some of them are free as well, I think. So this is a sci-fi robot. We're going to be using him for our Space Pirate AI. I think that's a free one. And these are some particle systems which we're going to be using for our projectiles, which I think are also free. And there's another asset which we're going to be using for the visors, which is this one here. So this is the heat visor, and we've got our X-ray visor here like this as well. So there'll be settings for those at the download link as well. So if you get that asset, you can just plug those in, and then you've got the project that I built today. Okay, so let's just start, shall we? I'm in an empty first person project template. I haven't done anything to it yet. The very first thing that I'm going to do is we're going to do the Space Pirate AI first. So we've got some shit running around to test our visors and our bullets on. So to do the Space Pirate AI, I'm going to copy, there's a third person character which uses my sci-fi robot, so I'm just going to copy that and just call this Space Pirate. I'm going to have to go quick because we're doing this in an hour, right? This isn't really a step-by-step tutorial, although it is a sort of follow along if you want sort of tutorial. Where the hell did you just go? Oh my god, dude. BP_Space Pirate. BP_Space Pirate, we need to move you to our Metroid Prime folder, just so we can stay organized. I've got a feeling this is going to take longer than an hour, but we'll see how we go. Okay, so there's our Space Pirate. Space Pirates do not need a camera room, but we might just leave it in there because I can't be bothered. There he is. Okay, so we need him running around. So let's create a blackboard, which we'll call BB_Space Pirate, and we'll create a behavior tree which we will call BT_Space Pirate as well. Okay, and inside the behavior tree it should auto assign to that blackboard, and then we will have a select node to select a behavior. We will have a wait over on the right, and then we might do a random roaming sort of thing. So new blueprint task, control B to open that in the content browser, BTT get random move to lock. Now this we might do with, instead of just having him run around randomly, let's have him use an environmental query system to hide behind things while he's shooting at the player. So what we might do is we'll set up an EQS attacking sure. We don't have time to name shit, bro. We're gonna do a points in a grid. How big is the half size gonna be? Maybe like 5,000. Space in between can be 100, sure. And the query context is the query. Yes, okay, so that's generating the grid. Now let's perform some tests, and I'll show you what this looks like in just a second. We need to be able to reach it. Discard unreachable, good. And we need, I want to do a trace to the player to see if it can be reachable from the player, but maybe we will come back to that in just a moment. So let's just leave that like this. So it has to be reachable, and we're going to make sure that it is far. So we want to move to the furthest points. So prefer greater. Is that working between 0 and 0? I don't really understand what's going on here. Filter and score, or maybe score only. Yeah, score only, not filter and score, score only. Okay, so then in here, we're gonna have an attacking sequence for our for our guy, and we're gonna run an EQS query, which will be our attacking EQS, which we put in here, attacking EQS, and return a best item from the top 25%, and then we're going to return that as a move to location. So that means we need to go to our blackboard and create a new variable, which we will call move to. Oh my god, bro, I don't like that weird capitalization. Okay, so output move to, and then we will move to that location. Move to the move to location. Yes, and then, I don't know, should we wait? Maybe we'll wait for like a second and a bit or something. Okay. So you're going to constantly run this EQS and constantly be moving to points that are far away that we can reach. And then later we're going to make sure that the player can't see, so he's going to move behind things that the player can see. Okay, if we get time. So this guy should be alright to start, I think. We need a nav mesh in here. So what we will do is grab a nav mesh bounds volume up here, and we will stretch this out like that. Yep, that looks pretty good. Now we need inside our space pirate dude. That's all the movement, that's fine. We need an on possess event possessed. The new controller, it'll automatically possess with an AI, I believe. Yes, placed in world, it'll spawn with an AI controller. So when it's possessed, we will run behavior tree, or what's this? That's not necessarily an AI controller, so we need to cast to AI controller, and then we go run behavior tree. And then the behavior tree that we're going to be running is, no, not EQS attacking, it's space pirate. I feel like I'm going so fast right now, this is fucked up. So if we simulate, this is our space pirate AI. But we will have him facing our, okay, so he's blocked by this dude, which we should probably just delete now. We will have him facing the player in just a moment. But right now he's running around, so that's good. Now let's start fleshing out our character. So where's our first person character? First person character, this is it right here. Should we duplicate it? Let's duplicate it. FP Samus. Because this is Samus, right? And we are going to put that in our Metroid Prime folder. Move here. And we might just organize this a little bit, because I've got a feeling this is going to be part of a series. I don't think we're going to get everything done today, you know, so. And this could be a good project to do more of. So everything AI related is in there. FP Samus is going to go in here. We're going to build a game mode now so we can set some shit up a little bit neater. Game mode base, Metroid Prime. Okay, and inside the game mode base, our default pawn is going to be Samus, okay? And then for this world, we're going to use Metroid Prime game mode. So now, if we delete this dude down here, and this is our Samus character, let's just change the material on the gun to like that, whatever the hell that is, just to make sure that it's working. There. So this is our Samus character. We're playing as our Samus character. So we can put that material back. We'll change the materials of that later when we start doing our own weapon system. But for now, let's have input 1, input 2, and input 3. And these are going to be to change between our visors. You could do this with a console controller, but we're just going to do it like this for now. So input 1, let's make that our normal visor. Input 2 can be our heat or whatever. We're going to need references to these two chameleon volumes. So these are the ones, these are post-process volumes that you drop in the world, and you set up a bunch of different settings in here, and then when you enable them and disable them, you can get different effects. So we're going to need references to both of those. So the way to do that is, let's say on begin play, which we already have. I don't understand what any of this over here is doing. Could I just delete all that? I don't know. Let's just see. I never used the first person template like ever, so this is dangerous for me because I'm freestyling like hardcore. Get all actors of class. We need to get, I have a chameleon. These are children of the chameleon blueprint. So heat visor, get copy, and this will be chameleon heat visor. And then same thing, X-ray, chameleon X-ray. Okay, and then get copy again, and just get the first copy, index 0, and then call this chameleon X-ray visor. Okay, so now we've got references to both of those. Maybe what we can do is we can say make array here, like this. Make array out of, oh no, we can't make array out of those. Okay. Oh, my computer does this weird thing where it, I have to reset it every now and again because the drop down menu stopped displaying, which is super annoying, but that's just a quick hot reset. Okay, so now let's set enabled for you, set enabled for you, and then let's drag both of these out with reroute nodes. You just type RER like that, and then collapse this to a function, which I can't do just yet. What if I do it like this? And then call this toggle visors. Okay, and so this will be heat visor, question mark, and then this will be X-ray visor, question mark. So when we hit 1, we turn them both off. When we hit 2, let's make that a heat visor. And then when we hit 3, let's make that a X-ray visor, just like that. So, is this our visor system done already or what? So we're in the game. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So those are our visors, right? Now you can see that in Metroid Prime, the space pirates, when they're running around, they're not actually, some of them aren't actually visible until you activate the visor, and then they light up. And you can see this dude isn't lighting up right now. And he's not invisible either. So that's something else that we need to do. So the way that we're going to do this, how are we going to do this? Maybe we need a new variable in here, which we will call visor mode. And we might have a new enumeration, perhaps. So maybe we can go blueprint enumeration e_visor mode. And we'll add 4 visors in here. So we'll have normal. There is the scanner, which we're not going to probably do in this video because I'm nervous about time. We have heat visor, and we have X-ray visor. So whenever we change the visor, we need to e_visors. Oh my god, bro. I wish I could just think and have this editor do what I think rather than like having to type. It's just like such a pain in the ass. And so this will be normal visor. This will be heat visor. And this will be X-ray visor. And so now what we need to do is whenever this happens, we need to update everything in the game that should change its visibility based on which visor you're using. But before we even do that, actually, there's just one more thing. So I set up some settings inside the chameleon thing about actor featurettes. So what that looks like is they use a custom render depth. So if I go to my Space Pirate blueprint thing up here and I type in custom or render Nope, not that. Maybe it's on the mesh. Render. Custom render. Render custom depth pass. You tick that so that you're using a custom depth pass or whatever the hell that means for your post-processing. And where is that setting? Oh, whatever. Here, this is the one that we want. Stencil value 0. It's like a channel that you're using for special effects. So by ticking that to true, I've set up my chameleon volume so that when I hit this, it renders on him that color. So this is his heat signature. I'm using this to simulate his heat signature. And then likewise with the X-ray, that's showing his body in the X-ray vision. And it's not perfect because I'm not an artist, whatever. Artists can make this shit look nicer, but the functionality is there. So now we need to make him invisible, or the option to have him invisible, or these invisible, depending on if they're cloaked or not. So what we can do is in a blueprint class, we can have an actor component and call this AC for actor component. What should we call it? Visor component. And so let's have a variable which we will call visible to, and this will be our visor types, and this will be a public variable which we can edit on any blueprints. Visible to, okay, and then what we'll do is we'll have an event tick. This might not be the best way to do it, but let's just do it like this for now. Visible to, and every tick we're going to get the owner of this component, and we're going to set the actor hidden in game to whatever the player has their visor set to. So at begin play, what we'll do is we will, or maybe not even at begin play, let's just say get player controller, getting the player which owns this game, getting, or not player controller, let's get player character. Get player character. Cast to, I don't like using cast to nodes, but this is functional for now. It's always going to be Samus. We're not using any other characters, so that's always going to be there, except there might be a moment when you spawn where you're not valid. So cast to Samus, and then we will get the visor mode. Get the visor mode, and then if Samus's visor mode is equal to the visor mode where this actor is supposed to be visible, then set them to not hidden in game. Hopefully that made sense. Yeah, so let's see if that works. So on our space pirate, we'll go AC underscore, what was it? AC actor component. I called it actor component. AC underscore visor component. Add component. AC underscore. Oh, the underscore doesn't show up. Okay, visor component. So visible to normal. So if we jump in like this, there he is. But if I change visor now, he'll be invisible, which is sort of a problem. I'll deal with that in just a moment. But the interesting way that this works is, so if we set, let's have a couple of space pirates. So what we'll do is we'll have 1, 2, 3. Dude on the left will be visible to normal. Dude here will be visible to the heat visor only, and the dude over here will be visible to the X-ray visor only. And also, let's drop the visor component on a couple of these. So we'll drop one on here and say you're visible to X-ray only. Likewise, you're also visible to X-ray only. And maybe we want a platform. There's platforms in Metroid where they're invisible unless you've got the appropriate visor. So maybe we can have a platform down here that you could probably jump on to get up to there, but you can't actually see it unless you've got the X-ray visor out. X-ray visor. And maybe this one here, we'll just make this a heat visor just to fuck with it. Okay, so there, look at that. There he is. And if I switch back to 1, he's invisible. Heat visor, there he is again. X-ray visor, not there. Heat visor, there he is. Now, X-ray visor, You can see this is here and I can't get up there. You can also see that blocks are down. And they're also physics blocks. And now that's the heat one, which doesn't have the custom render pass on it. So we can add that in just a moment. But you can see, look at this. You got all these different worlds laid on top of each other depending on which visor you're using. So I will tidy up that in just a moment. I need to move on because we're already 20 minutes into the video, but that's basic visors, alright? Okay, so I suppose the next thing that we do is the projectile switching and firing for the player. There are some details on the other stuff that we'll come back to in a moment, but let's just get the bases covered first. So the way that we're going to switch weapons is 1, 2, and 3, and 4, which means that to toggle the visors, I might do that with Shift 1, Shift 2, and Shift 3 instead of just 1, 2, 3, 4. So you shift and hit the numbers to change the visors, and then we'll go input 1, input 2. This will be to change your type of gun. So in Metroid Prime they have the standard one, they have the wave beam, and they have the ice beam and the plasma beam. So each of these inputs is going to change the type of gun that we've got. So what we'll do is we'll do another enumeration. So blueprint E underscore, I don't know, is it called a phaser in Metroid? I don't remember. Phaser type. Let's just roll with that. I think it's called a power beam, the original one, and then you have the wave beam, and then you have the ice beam, like Pokemon, and then the plasma beam. And I think there might be another one, the Phazon beam, which is only unlockable in certain situations. I can't remember if that's in Metroid Prime or the second one. Phazon, let's just put that in anyway. So visor mode, we're gonna have phaser mode, I guess, gun mode or whatever. And this is going to be E underscore phaser type. Okay, now when you hit 1, power beam, hit 2, wave beam, hit 3, ice beam, Articuno Pokemon, plasma beam, and that will do for now. Okay, so actually I can comment all this after the video. We need to go quick, bro. So this is the first person default stuff for spawning a projectile. We don't need touch. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. Using motion controllers, we are not going to be using motion controllers. So all of this can go so that this is just less cluttered. Okay, so what's going on here? This is playing a shooting montage. When you hit the left mouse button, spawn projectile, which I might actually move all this over here just so I've got some more space and it's more me than the template. Okay, and then we're spawning a projectile. Now the type of projectile that we're going to spawn is going to depend on which mode this is set to. So maybe what we can do is we could probably do a map, but we should probably create the projectiles first. So let's keep the montage playing just like that, and now let's create some projectiles. So if we right click in the content browser, blueprint class, actor, and call this I don't know, just projectile, BP underscore projectile. The space pirates are going to be firing these too, by the way, not just Samus. So we're going to need a sphere collision, and this is going to be called block all, and we're going to make that the root probably, and then we're going to have a particle system, and we might have a static mesh in here just for the power beam, not for the other ones because they all have good particles, but I couldn't find a good particle just for the power beam. So for the power beam, we're going to have a sphere in here. Can I get a material sphere just like that? Yep. I don't know, 0.1 might be a good size, and it needs to have no collision. That's important because we're going to do the collision with this. So this needs an emissive material. Do I have an emissive material? Does that look like a power beam? I think that looks like a power beam. Let's just roll with that. Okay, so BP projectile, create projectile class. This will be projectile power, oops, and then projectile wave, and then projectile ice, and then you guessed it, projectile, I was gonna say something really inappropriate then, but I'm not gonna, plasma. Okay, so let's open up wave, power, plasma, and ice. And in the wave one, what was my particle? This one. I wonder if I have that selected, that'll just let me put this in. No, what was it called? Shock something. Nope. Thunderball. Thunderball. Okay. And I don't know, 0.2 or something. Might be a good size. That's our wave beam. And we might just slow that down a little bit. Not that it really matters, but the ice beam. So ice attack. Yep, looks good. 0.2. And this one leaves a nice trail behind it, by the way. And the static mesh should be hidden in all of these except for the power ball. So I might just put the visible off by default and then put the visible on for the projector. Words, bro. Fuck words. Put the visibility on for the power ball. Okay. Projectile power. Now for the plasma beam, no static mesh because that's hidden, and now the projectile was something fire, I believe. So my computer's doing that glitchy thing where the drop downs all stop working, so I'm gonna have to give this a cheeky restart. Be back with you in a moment. Okay. I'm doing the restarts with the restart plugin, by the way. Control-Shift-R. You can get that for free on the marketplace. So that should be all of our projectiles, I believe. So whenever one of these projectiles hits something, we want it to probably detonate and disappear. So inside the projectile blueprint, let's add a projectile movement component. Its default velocity can be whatever, because we're going to set that manually probably in just a moment. And whenever, what we need is, there's like a bounce option somewhere. Should bounce. So if that's set to true, and then we right click in here and we add event and say on projectile bounce, let's just spawn a sound at location. I don't have any good sounds in here. Oh, those clicks are nice. Ugh. These are sick. I didn't know all these are in here. Alright, let's just use the explosion. Spawn explosion, and then just destroy self. And we could do hit effects and whatever, but we're going for functionality right now. Because we are getting close to the end, I think. So whenever you bounce, destroy yourself. And oops. Get out to location, self can go in there. And we probably want some sound attenuation as well. So let's just quickly create one of those. This is one of those details where I think it's important. So SA_basic for sound attenuation basic, and then just drop that in there. Okay, so now we're firing projectiles, but we're still firing the wrong projectiles. So what we need to do is create a map. And we'll call this, what? Phaser mode to projectile class. Oh my god, dude. Typing is like it's the bottleneck to all of this dev, right? That's actually wrong, I think. I think I need it to be this map like this. And so we're gonna use, actually, no better way to do this. We don't need a map. This can just be actor classes, and it can be an array. It can be an array that just matches up to the order of the phaser modes. So 5 elements. Okay, that was weird. 5 elements. Power, wave, ice, plasma, and we don't have the 5th, but that's fine. So now, can I get... I don't actually know how this works to int. Let's just see if this is working, because I don't actually know. So what I'm doing is if I shoot, that's saying 0, 0, 0. Why is that still spawning a projectile? Oh, because I connected that up like that. Okay, so if I shoot 0, 0, 0, and I'm changing... Oh, okay, so this is set to 2. I press 2 now, it's using projectile 1. Yeah, okay. So it's reading the correct byte. So you go byte to integer, and then the integer can be used to get a copy from this, probably. I think I set that up right. Are they both 0 based? I'm not sure. Let's see, huh? Let's see what happens when we do that. Okay, that was a Powerball projectile. Yeah, that's a wave one. That's an ice one. And then that's a plasma one. Fucking sick, bro. Fucking sick. Okay, but they're dropping through the floor because block all wasn't actually set to block all, so we need to set that to block all. Funny that. And now we need to give them some velocity. So I wonder how we could do this. We could probably well, this is getting its rotation from the camera. So if we just give these forward velocity on the x-axis, like I don't know, like 2000, does that sound like a good number? Will that work? Check that out, bro. Check that out. Oh, that is so rad. So that's spawning projectiles already. Now we don't want them to have gravity because they don't have gravity in Metroid. So is there just a button? Gravity scale to 0. Boom, just like that. Okay. That's a wave beam. Ice beam. Plasma beam, baby. Oh, that's so fucking loud. Okay, well that's the projectile switching done, I think. Yeah, cool. Okay, so we're doing quite well. We're doing quite well. Now that we've got Samus shooting projectiles, let's get these guys shooting projectiles, even though they don't have guns or animation blueprints at the moment. And let's tidy up their AI a little bit, to make them a little bit more interesting to fight. So if we go into our AI again, and we go to our behavior tree, our space pirate behavior tree, is there a set focus? No, I guess there's not. Maybe what we could do is whenever you are running like this, we could just have a new blueprint task, which we might actually just create up here, and just control B to browse and just call this BTT set focus. Or to be honest, we could probably even do this just in their AI controller, just so that they're always focused on the player. No, we'll do it in the behavior tree, because if we want to set up pawn sensing and shit later, it'd be good to be able to control it in here. So set focus, get the owner controller and set focus. And then the new focus is going to be get blackboard value as actor, which could be, we could do it like that and say, target character, but since it's only a single player game and they're only going to be targeting Samus, then we can just say get player character. So what we could actually do is we could have a branch here and call this set or clear, like that. That can be public. If set is true, then go ahead and set it, and then we will finish our execute, mark it as success. And if it's false, then what we will do is we will grab our AI controller and say clear focus, like that, and then he'll resume back to running around like he normally was. Okay, so let's say set focus, set to true. So now when they're running around, they should be looking at Samus, which they're definitely not. I wonder if that was just because I spawned in after them. So what happens when he runs his tree again? No, his focus still isn't setting. Give me a second. Okay, so the reason he wasn't turning is because inside of Space Pirate Blueprint, I'm pretty sure you need to have set use controller rotation yaw, because the AR controller is focusing on the player, but if this is set to false, then it's not updating the actual pawn to use the yaw of the controller. So now you can see he's facing me. And if he had a 2D blend space, this could be a lot more interesting because he'd be sidestepping and whatever, but it doesn't, and that's fine. And if I changing, and now I change my visor, look at that. This is some Metroid shit right here, and then there's the other guy. Look at him running around like that as well. Yeah. So what I realized is that this guy, the one that we want to be visible just normally, you'd actually want to remove that component. You wouldn't want it to be on here. Oh well, we can deal with that later. So let's make the AI interesting. So let's get them shooting now. So if we have this here, we're setting the focus, we're doing an EQS query. Let me just have a quick think about this. Okay, so what we're probably going to do is while we're moving to the location, we'll have a simple parallel node, and the main task will be the move to, and then while we're moving, we'll get him to shoot while he's running. So what we're going to need down there is a new blueprint task. So Control B, once we're in here, BTT, launch projectile at player, I guess. We could just make it like that, and so we'll receive execute AI. How are we going to get them to launch a projectile? Spawn actor from class, I suppose. But wait, the direction of it's going to be important. So what we might have to do, let's just put a power projectile in here for now. Projectile power, although we will decide a way to switch between those later depending on our class of enemy. And let's just say, no, we're going to set this up in a component. So what we might do is create a new blueprint class called of type scene component, and call this projectile launching component. And we should probably use this for our character as well, to be honest. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to give this to our space pirate guy. Projectile launching component, and we're going to put that at the spawn point where we want his projectiles to spawn from. We could just make him spawn from his face, like his eye. Because he doesn't have a gun right now, he can just be shooting from that laser in his head. So if we then get the control pawn and say get component by class, and get the projectile spawning component, projectile launching component, and get the world transform, we can plug the location in. The rotation of it, we're going to need to find a look at rotation from us there to the target, which will be the get player character, which you would set this up as a blackboard key if there were multiple players, but there's only one player, and get actor location as the target. Now that will rotate the projectile to face the target. Now the projectile type we might also get from here. So if we have the projectile launching component, and then we call this what? Space pirate type. And then it can have, what was it? Phaser types like this, right? That's how they do it in Metroid. They've each got a type, and then their projectiles match their type. So if we then get the phaser type, get space pirate type, then we can map that to a class in there. Now we did this in the player controller, but now we need to do it again here, and we don't want to do it twice in two different locations. So what we want to do is go to our first person character, and get this here, and probably just cut that. And then what we can do is create a function library. So we'll go a blueprint Oh my god, my computer's doing that thing again. Just let me have a reset. This is me editing it in the background so that I can keep track of how long this video is, and I can actually cut this off at an hour because I'm doing it in different segments. So now that we've got our blueprint function library, BPFL Metroid, what we can do in here is say get projectile class from Visor type. Okay, now this will need to create a local variable, and then we will populate that with the numbers that we put into, or the values that we put into here. So copy that. Now we can delete that from the player and then put that in here inside of our function library. So there we go. Now this is going to read a byte from here, which is going to be Visor type byte, or maybe not even Visor type byte. Oh, maybe, I don't know. Let's just see if this works. And then it's going to return the class of the projectile, and it's going to be a pure function. So now this is a Visor type enum. Can I say, what did I call it? Get projectile class from Visor type. Get projectile class from Visor type. Plug that into there like that. And now let's see if this still works for our character, and then we'll test it for the AI. Beautiful. So now that we've got this set up inside of a function library, we can go back to our launch projectile at target, and we can say get projectile class from Visor type, and then plug that into there. And so now different AI can shoot different projectiles depending on their Visor type in their projectile launching component, and they're going to launch them at the player. So when that's launched, finish execute AI, success. And this should be done. This is launching a projectile successfully. So if we go back to our behavior tree, which is we're here, what should we do? Should we just launch projectiles constantly? Maybe we could have a sequence like this. Launch projectile, and then we could just wait. Do we want them to be uniform? I don't know, probably. Maybe like four projectiles a second. It could be a bit extreme. Yeah, I don't know. Because is there like a conditional? Oh, let's just see what happens. Let's just see. Do I want 3 of these guys shooting them all at once? Yeah, sure, why not? That was really loud. But that's pretty rad, bro. We got AI shooting projectiles. Cool. What we might do is first of all close all of these tabs, and we'll tidy up this shooting in just a moment to make it actually like fun and like not just like super intense. What I might do actually is just this sound attenuation was so freaking loud, so maybe I'll make that 400 and this could be like 2400. Yeah, anyway. We're going to do their AI a little bit better. So let's get them hiding behind other points. So I'm just going to kill these two for a moment. Not kill them, I'm just going to drag them over there. And I might just quickly get rid of their camera component, because that's annoying having to look at that every time. What we could also do is update the material on these guys depending on their alien type, so we can get their value from there and then set their material, but we'll do that in just a moment. I want to get this guy running behind these different blocks. So the way that we do that is with our environmental query system. What we need to do, I might just cut this actually. So we're just going to tidy up his AI just a little bit. So inside of the behavior tree, I'm just going to disconnect his shooting for a little while, and we're going to see if we can get him moving to positions where he's out of sight of the player. I don't know if they do this in Metroid. They do some other thing, but I think this could be kind of cool. So to move out of sight from the player, we need a new environmental query context, which is a blueprint class env query context blueprint base, and let's just call this I don't know, env line of env player character, sorry. And so you go up to here to override and you say provide single actor, and so whenever this query is asked to provide a single actor, normally these are the two options, but let's just go in here and say get player character and provide the player character as the query, as the resulting actor. So now inside of EQS attacking, if we add a test and say trace from to query on visibility, what if we say the context is the player character? To player character? Yeah, so we're doing a trace from the query point, which is on the grid, to the player character, and let's only move to positions, or maybe we should just filter positions or score positions. Yeah, so we'll score positions based on hit. So if there is a trace hit, then increase the score, I suppose. Let's see if that works. Now your boy's broken because he needs to still be able to move. Okay. So basically what this is doing is getting him to run behind points like that. He's moving behind things where we can't see him. And what he's going to do is shoot in between. Okay? That's what we'll get him to do. So where's he gone, bro? Where's he gone? Oh my god, where is he? Like, for real, where is he? If he was shooting at me right now, this would be some scary shit. Oh, there he is over there. This is fucking sneaky. He'd be like, bang, 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 bang. Okay, so let's actually hook this back up and just see what happens. I don't want him to shoot constantly, like how we had it earlier. We might do like a barrage setting in just a moment. So, anyway. So look at that. And he's still shooting while he's behind there. So maybe let's do a test in here in just a moment. Okay, so I was going to tidy this up a little bit and give him like a barrage shooting behavior and all that, but we are sort of running out of time. So what I'm going to do just to wrap this up is a damage component, and then I'm going to tidy this up into a packageable, playable game. So let's do the damage component real quick, which will mean the player can be damaged too. So if we go blueprint class, actor component, AC actor component, damage component is what we'll call that. We'll have a new variable in here called health, which will be a integer. We can do a max health if we want, but let's just not even do that. Let's just say 5 hits until you're dead. Space Pirate can have one of these, so AC damage. I think I'm going too fast for my computer, or did it do that thing? No, it didn't. Okay, 5 health for a Space Pirate. Player character. What did I call it? FP underscore Samus. AC damage component, so 5 hits for Samus as well. So now, if a projectile hits one of those, so if we go to our projectile parent, when it bounces, okay, before spawning the sound and destroying itself, let's break this, break the hit result, and let's do a print string and just see what this is hitting when I shoot a AI with this. So I'm just gonna disconnect this for a second so the AI just stands still. Alright, it's hitting spacebar. And they're all bouncing around. Isn't that cool? I might use that as a mechanic in my next game. Okay, so hit actor. Let's have a... We don't actually need to do this in a function library, but let's say get component by class AC damageable component. Now, if it has one, because it might not always have one, but if it has one, so we'll say is valid. If it has one, then we are going to get that component, and I suppose we could do the damage inside the component. So we could go AC damage component, and we could destroy all of this, go new custom event, and call this inflict damage. So what that would look like is we've got our health component up there, is we will decrement this, because this is hit points, we will decrement it, and then if the new result is less or equal to 0, then I guess we destroy the owner. Maybe we could do it with an explosion or whatever. Oh, my computer's doing that thing. Alright, quick reset. Basically, how long are we up to? 45 minutes. Okay. We're getting close, When it reaches 0 in the damage component, then we will get the owner, and we will destroy the actor. Okay. And that should be it for damage, basically. So if we go back into the projectile thing and we just say inflict damage, boom, just like that, and then go ahead and do the sound and destroy. What we might do is, if there's no hit, why don't we just have no sound and we'll just destroy, just so we don't have explosions everywhere when we're playing this thing, because I don't have the time to polish it all up perfectly. But this should inflict damage now, so maybe we should make it 3 hits as the default instead of 5. I think 5 is a bit too much. 3 hits. Yeah, okay, so in the game. 1, 2, 3, and he's dead. Okay, so now the next thing is to make these space pirates have their colors match their projectile type. And also make it so that they can't be damaged if they're hit by the wrong projectile. So let's, in the projectile, when we go to inflict damage, the damage component, let's have another variable in here which will be called, damage type. Damage phaser type. So, oh no, because some of them could be damaged by all of them. So maybe we could have damaged immunities. Damage immunity types. So this could be phaser. Phaser types. And it could be of an array. So whenever we try to inflict damage, before we actually go ahead and inflict that damage, then what we're going to do is we're going to check if the immunities contain the damage type. Like that. And so if it doesn't, then go ahead and inflict the damage. If it does contain that damage type, then we're not going to take any damage because we're immune to it. Okay, so that's a public variable, and that can be empty by default. But now inside of our space pirates, so we could set these manually from here, damage immunity types, or we could just give them a type. Yeah, I don't really know. Let's just freestyle something. So what we'll do, inside a space pirate, we've already got a visor component type. Oh, this is the type, isn't it? No, it's not. No, these are the visor types, but they have their own projectile types. So what we will do is we might just have projectile type in there, or maybe this should be in its own separate component. I don't know. Let me think about this. Okay, so how we're going to do this is we're going to update this guy's material depending on the space pirate type he is. So if we close everything, because this is just getting a little bit out of control, and we open up our space pirate again, and inside our construction script, we're going to change his material depending on what type of alien he is. And then we'll create different children. So what we'll do is we need to get his materials. This is specific to the sci-fi guy, but you can do this with any material, basically. So inside of body, I was playing around with some of these earlier. I think Mill Matte Space Pirate was a good one. Yeah, so this one here. Okay. What I'm looking for, this is how the material came. It came with this plugged into the emissive like that. And if this is applied to a Space Pirate, Mill Matte Space Pirate, okay, this is how he looks, right? But because this is going into an emissive channel, if I take the red channel of that, multiply that by whatever color I want his emissive to be, and then make it super emissive by multiplying it by 100, and then plug it into there, you can see over on the left we get this color. And now you can see he's got these tones inside of his body. This is just a hack that I just come up with, but you can do this like with lots of different character meshes and whatever if you want to just give him a color. And so we'll call this color, convert that to a parameter and call that color. And now this can be a dynamic material instance. So what we could do, maybe instead of even making that a dynamic one, let's just create material instances. So we'll go power, wave, ice, and plasma. And then I'm just going to open all of them up. And for wave, we're going to go a nice purple, intense purple. And then what's this one? Power, we want that to be sort of an orangey yellow, right? This is looking like Metroid already, isn't it? And then this one is plasma, that's red. That looks like plasma to me. And then ice, we might go a bit more turquoise sort of color like that. Okay, so now we've got these materials, okay? So the default one, we want to just be power, I suppose, right? Isn't that how they normally look? Or maybe the default one we can just go like this, just white. I don't know, he's an untyped one right now. But what we're going to do in the construction script is we're going to get our damage, not our damage component, our projectile component, because that's where we defined the type of projectile. And what did we call it? Get Space Pirate type, okay? And so then what we're going to do is we're going to grab our mesh and set the material, set material of element 0, which is the body, to select from the enumerated list of the Space Pirate types. So now if it's power, then we type in power. If it's wave, we type in wave, Space Pirate wave. If it's ice, we type in Space Pirate ice, space ice. And then surely there's only one plasma. Yeah, cool. So now this will update his material depending on whatever we give him here. Wave, ice, plasma. Boom, just like that. And we can also, of course, change their visor components in here. Now, their damage components aren't updating automatically. So if we wanted to have different children of these, so for example, where's our Space Pirate? In Metroid. Let's create children. A good pickup line. Space Pirate power, Space Pirate wave. Oops. Oh, widget reflector. No, we don't want to be a reflector. No widgets right now. Space Pirate ice and Space Pirate plasma. Open all these guys up. Okay, so for ice, we need to open up the blueprint editor, I think. For ice, set that to ice, obviously, and the damage component, the immunities, if it's an ice one, they're usually only damaged to their type in Metroid. So the immunities are power, wave, plasma. Okay, so that's the ice type done. Here we go, we're going to do this for all of them. Okay, so I skipped the rest of that. I did it off the camera because it was unnecessary and took too long, and we're running out of time. So now the last thing inside of the blueprint projectile is we need to actually give a damage type to each of the projectiles. So again, this is just projectile type, like that. Could be a public variable, whatever, but inside of our Metroid Prime folder in our projectiles, we need to go through all of these and set their type as well, just like before. So for example, in projectile wave, class defaults, projectile type is projectile wave, right? Just like that. Okay, so I messed around with the project for a little while and made another couple changes just to tidy it up and just make it look neat for some footage in a minute. I'll just quickly show you what I did. I built a quick spawning system in the game mode, so AI is constantly spawning whenever you kill one. I made some changes inside of the Samus blueprint. So to change weapons, the shift and the number was a little bit clunky, so I just changed that to a shift F or an F. So whenever you hit F, you change visor, and whenever you scroll your mouse wheel, you change between the type of phaser that you're wielding. And I also set up the functionality to change the color of the weapon to match the color of the phaser as well. I did some other things. I added the HUD, I slowed the enemies down, made them look a little bit different, but look, maybe now we'll cut to some footage, and I think that's it. This is the Metroid Prime development in 1 hour. Hope you enjoy.